Hello, everybody. You're welcome to this week's edition of Chatting Up the Irish. My name is Mayhernan McEvely. My guest tonight is Pat Sweeney. Pat is from Dublin in County Clare. He has an amazing company called Dublin Cliff Walks. It's actually a trail through two of his farms along the cliffs of Moher. So we're going to hear about what you can see along the cliffs, what life is like living in Dublin, and all other interesting aspects of life down there. Hang on for about 30 minutes and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, share and make comments below.
Lovely.
Hello everybody, this is Chatting Up the Irish again with Mayhernan McEvely, and I am delighted to have us join with Pat Sweeney from Dublin in County Clare. Pat owns a very, very interesting company. It's called Dublin Walking Trails. Am I right, Pat?
It's called Dublin Cliff Walk.
Dublin Cliff Walk. And Pat has created this amazing walk that goes right across the cliffs of Dublin. And you can actually see, it's not a great picture, but Dublin is a fantastic place. And the scenery from it and the whole atmosphere of the place is really, really magical. Pat, it's great to have you on the programme, Chatting Up the Irish.
Thank you very much, yeah.
It's great. Yeah. So you are originally, well, you're a farmer still, I presume, but some of the trails go through your farm, am I right?
Correct, yeah. I'm still a working farm here. We also run a bed and breakfast as well.
Oh, do you?
On the farm. It's called Donegal Farmhouse, Sweeney's Donegal Farmhouse.
All right, spell that for people who
DOONAGORE farmhouse.
Perfect.
In Dublin. We're just outside Dublin.
Well, one way or another, Pat, when I'm posting this, I'll put a link down for that as well, and a link for your website as well, which is
sure.
Dublin Walking Tours, isn't it?
.com. Yeah, Dublin Cliff Walk.
Why am I doing that?
I don't know. That's okay.
I don't know. My head is all over the place. Anyhow, you know something. Right. You are blessed to live in a most beautiful place.
I suppose I grew up here all my life here. There's 5 generations on my farm here. And my farm backs onto the cliffs of Moher here. Both my farms, my home farm, my grandfather's farm, backs onto the cliffs of Moher here. And I suppose, just to put things in perspective, back 10 years ago, 12 years ago, if you wanted an experience of the cliffs of Moher, you had to go to the cliffs of Moher Centre. There was no other way. You'd go up to O'Brien's Tower on the north side, and that's as far as you go.
Yeah.
You go down to the south side, and you go down 15 minutes to the south side, and that was it. There was no walking trail. There was no nothing.
Yeah.
Back in 2006, I was chairman of the IFA here in Dublin, which is the Irish Farmers Association.
Yeah.
And been talking to in that association, I heard rumblings that the government were looking at ideas to open up farmland and to fund the farmers for that. So that was back in 2006. 2007, I called the first farmers meeting in Dublin and asked the farmers from the cliffs of Moher to come along to the meeting and see could we discuss opening up our land here and getting a walkway scheme payment from the farmers. On that night, I've been involved in many meetings since. We have 39 farmers here that have given over their private land, so everybody can come and walk the cliffs of Moher. And what I think is it's the real experience of the cliffs of Moher.
Absolutely, but because it's not we're exactly, Pat. Because I'll tell you what I feel about that. You're the local. You know the wildlife there. You know all the dips and the swells there. You know when the tide is coming in. You have a local knowledge of it that no foreign company can give to the traveller that wants to walk the cliffs and get a real in-depth knowledge about the cliffs. I mean, if I was going to do something like that, if I'm offering, let's say, with my tours, I bring people to the cliffs of Moher, and God forgive me, I'm going to ask you to forgive me, Pat. I just let them roam themselves. But now that I know that you exist, I'm all about the local and the local of what the local can offer the traveller, because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
I did
not
read
be
it.
I would not be able to do what you do as good as you do it, because you're local to that area, and it's a brilliant service to be able to give people.
I didn't learn it in the book for starters. I
No.
suppose I grew up as a young kid here, and I'm doing what a lot of people in the world would love to be doing. Um, Also, I suppose it's a very rare experience what I'm doing here, because there's walking trails all over Ireland. They're all over the world. That's been created by fantastic men and women.
Yeah.
Uh, what I am doing is I'm carrying out a tour along the cliffs of Moher. I'm walking my dream,
Yeah.
because for me as a young kid, walking the cliffs of Moher, it was only a dream to create a trail. I have created the trail,
Well,
and how many tour guides can you walk with that they can say, "I have created this trail for
exactly.
people
Exactly.
for people to come and enjoy."
Yeah, exactly, Pat. It's the same with me. I created all these itineraries to bring people over to Ireland because I am a local, and
Yes,
I know Ireland so well. But and then if I don't know the area, if I don't know the place, I will reach out to the likes of you.
yeah,
I won't pretend that I know it myself. I'll reach out to the likes of you or
of
some
course,
musicians that I know, because of course I come from a musical family, and
yeah,
you know, get the local to
yeah.
because there's nothing better, and I'm sure you have experienced this on numerous occasions. There's nothing better than watching somebody come and their breath just being taken away with the sheer beauty of the place.
That's for sure. Yeah, unbelievable. When I see visitors coming, walking on the cliffs of Moher with me here, and we go to the fantastic views of the cliffs of Moher, and I just see the smile in their face.
Oh, it's amazing. It's
Uh,
no money could create that.
and I hear them saying, "Look, this is the money shot,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I knew that does it for me.
That's it, yeah. So, Pat, tell us about the walk. Where do you start? What do you see? Where do you end the walk? How long is the walk? Do you have to be fit for the walk?
You do, yeah. You'll be fit to drop when you finish.
Yeah, you'll eat a good dinner. Let's put it that way, and drink a nice pint.
You'll be ready for a nice lunch after the tour.
Yeah,
That's for sure. I start my tours every morning from O'Connor's pub in Dublin.
yeah. I know it
Um,
well.
you know it well, or anyone that comes into Dublin will know O'Connor's pub
Yeah,
well. And it's on the way out to the pier there in Dublin there. And I start my tours there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And as I say to the visitors, get ready for an adventure.
yeah,
And we take off from O'Connor's pub, and we start to go up the hill, and we start to take on we walk into my home farm first, and I stop at my home farm, and I give the visitors an idea of what it's like to grow up here, and what type of farming I do here, what it's like to live here um, during the winter as well as the summer. We
yeah.
all know the summer is fantastic, and you get fantastic sunsets of the cliffs of Moher. But they
Oh,
want to hear the stories about what it's like for the winter, what it's like for the big storms that come off the Atlantic here, and what we have to do with the farm buildings and the houses here to protect them from the storms that come off the Atlantic here.
and of course
So
the animals as well.
and the animals as well, yeah, of course. And I will continue on tell them about the wildlife that we see on the cliffs here. We may see a dolphin as we go along, a dolphin or two, out in the ocean there in the pods, possibly a seal or two in the
Yeah,
water as well. You'll see the heads popping up as you go along, and I love to show them the cormorants, which are fantastic birds there. That we call them the fishing birds, the cormorants, and I
yeah,
love to show them there because they're fantastic birds. You'll see them flying parallel to the water,
yeah.
and all of a sudden you'll see them diving
Straight
right
down.
down.
Yeah, straight down. I've seen it. Yeah, and you
They're
see,
beautiful.
this is the thing. You see that let's say a tour guide who doesn't necessarily come from there, these are the kind of things that they miss. You know where to watch for where the seals might be sunning themselves, or you know where to look if there's a pod of dolphins outside. I wonder,
Correct.
talking
Yeah.
about that now, Pat. I'm just going to ask you a question.
Go on.
You think did Fungi come up to Clare?
Uh,
Because he's disappeared down in Dingle, you know.
they say he's gone to Spain for his holidays.
I think he might have gone up to the Cliffs of Moher. He might have heard
I tell
about you.
I tell you a bit of a story about a dolphin here we have in Dublin here. Has gone missing for a while there, good while now. Was called Dusty. Back in '99, Dusty Springfield lost her life.
Yeah.
She passed away in '99, and for many years before that, Dusty Springfield used to come to Ireland here. Used to come to the Cliffs of Moher. It was one of her favorite places. And in 1999, her family came over and spread her ashes on the Cliffs of Moher.
Really, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, these are one of the many stories I tell on the tour.
Yeah.
But anyhow, back in an area just outside Dublin, it's called Tralahan, and that's where this dolphin appeared. Whether she was with a pod and she got lost, I don't know, but she appeared in Tralahan, and we started to go down to her and make friends with her.
Yeah.
And she eventually she got the name of Dusty because Dusty Springfield had passed away at the time.
Yeah.
And she eventually went and stayed at Dolan Pier because there was a lot more activity at Dolan Pier. So she stayed at Dolan Pier and she just followed the boats out to the Aran Islands and come back in again. She used to go to Fanor in the wintertime because there was more shelter there.
Yeah.
And she was there up to last year.
Really?
Dusty and Dolan. Yeah, Dusty the Dolphin.
Dusty the Dolphin.
Maybe if you Google that, Dusty the Dolphin and Dolan, you might find something about her.
Yeah.
But that's when it originated back in 1999 when Dusty Springfield ashes.
I didn't know that all the time.
It's a story I suppose I relate to the visitors as we're traveling along.
So how long is the walk then? Let's say once you leave Gus O'Connor's and you start going up your land, how long is the walk? What do you see?
We're looking roughly about 9 kilometers. 9 kilometers. You'll do about over 10,000 steps.
Yeah,
along the way.
I suppose it's about 4.5, 5 miles.
It's about 4.5, 5 miles.
Yeah.
And we continue on all the way along the Cliffs of Moher until we come to the visitor centre.
Okay.
And at the visitor centre then I'll arrange my local, it's actually our local school bus here that is in holidays when the kids are off school.
Yeah.
And I arranged for one of our local school buses here to pick us up and bring us back to Dolan for a bite to eat after. As you said, one thing I love showing people. Now I love showing people the views of the Cliffs of Moher. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But one thing I really like showing people and on the tour here is the puffins.
Yes, I'd imagine that's fantastic.
Because a lot of visitors come to the Cliffs of Moher looking for puffins, and up there it's like an eagle in a haystack.
Yeah,
there's not a hope in hell you're going to see a puffin from the Cliffs of Moher. Bear you having binoculars and knowing where to look, unless you go into the visitor centre and I tell them and you buy a postcard.
Yeah.
But on my tour, there's a couple of little places on the cliffs here, because I grew up here I know where to look.
Yeah.
And if the puffins are answering to me, you can see puffins with your naked eye. Wow. And for me, I just say, look, and outside of looking at the view of the cliffs, just to see the smile in the people's faces, and they're taking out the cameras, they're taking pictures, and they can zoom into the puffins. And, you know, I say to them, now we'll go to the Cliffs of Moher Centre and we'll see, can you see puffins there? No.
Yeah.
And that's what they love about it.
Exactly. And Pat, you'd go up to O'Brien's Tower as well, would you? Is that the highest point?
Oh God, yeah.
Is that the highest point?
No, the Cliffs of Moher Centre say, oh yeah, come to O'Brien, come to the Cliffs of Moher Centre. Of course, it's a fantastic centre, and O'Brien's Tower, the highest point of the Cliffs of Moher. That's not right. The highest point of the Cliffs of Moher is about 15 minutes walk on the north side of the cliffs, on the Dolan side.
Okay.
There's a stone standing inside in the field in the farmer's land that signifies the highest point of the Cliffs of Moher.
And what do you see from there?
Oh, you look right down, you'll see a hinge. The beach below the Hinch there, where the Irish Open was held there 2 years ago, 2018. And you'll see all the way out to the Scanner Bay, there, and all the way out to Hag's Head, where you can walk down from the Cliftonmore Visitor Centre all the way down to Hag's Head. And you'll see all this on a clear day.
And could you see Dingle Peninsula?
Oh, God, yeah. I was just going to say it, on a clear day, right from the top of the Cliffs of Moher. Now, some people say that you're joking and all this. I'm not joking.
Oh, yeah.
You can spot Mount Brandon outside Dingle Town.
Really, isn't that amazing?
Now it has to be very clear and very sharp for that.
Yeah.
But you can spot Mount Brandon outside Dingle Town from the top of the Cliffs of Moher on a real crispy day.
And I'd say you'd be able to see the Aran Islands and the 12 Pens as well.
That's right. I tell the people on the tour you can see America. But yeah, you have fantastic views of the Aran Islands there on the Cliffs of Moher. You're looking out at Innismore there, and looking back at the Donegas Cliffs on Innismore. You can see them from the cliffs here as well. And and in the sheer, you can see the wreck of the boat there, the Plassey.
Yeah.
On the shoreline there, on in the sheer.
Yeah.
And you have a beautiful view of the Connemara coastline as well.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Absolutely.
As you're traveling up along there, you're looking straight across at the Connemara Bay there, and the Connemara coastline all the way out to Clifton.
Yeah.
Which and you can see it from Clifton all the way right back into Spittle, and Galway City would be inside at the end of Galway Bay there as well.
Absolutely.
It is stunning, yeah. But I always say to visitors, what does it for me is the sunset.
Yeah.
To get the sunset on the Cliffs of Moher, that is special.
It is.
That is when I will stop for a couple of minutes and enjoy. If there's an evening time, I'll go to the back of my house here. My farmhouse overlooks the Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah.
So I'm looking out over the Aran Islands here, and that's when I'll pour myself a whiskey and have a stop for a couple of moments and enjoy.
And just be thankful that you have that. So many people, would spend an awful lot of money to have that view. I mean, that is a $1 trillion view. That is absolutely. Let's say in Dublin now as well, just to give people an idea of it's just a little village, but it has a pier, and you can go into the Aran Islands. There's boats there that you can talk to us about that a little bit.
Yeah. It's Dublin is just I always say it's a little dot on the west coast of Ireland, and you may not know about it, but you'll go away very happy after staying here.
Yeah.
You can take trips out to the Aran Islands, day trips. You can do a cruise underneath the Cliffs of Moher there. It's a 1 hour cruise underneath the Cliffs of Moher, which is fantastic on a lovely evening.
Yeah.
And the day trips to the Aran Islands, they go to all 3 islands there for day trips, which is fantastic as well. And I suppose to really top it off would be the music in the pubs.
Talk to us. I know about the music in the pubs. I spent one hell of a weird long week after there was All Ireland Fla in Ennis years and years ago, and myself and my ex-husband Peter Ryan, we ended up in McGann's in Dublin. And this is the truth, Pat. We had roughly about 2 hours sleep in that week. The music was constant.
I believe it.
And it was the beginning of Stockton's Wing, the very famous traditional music band, Stockton's Wing. They were forming at the time. And of course, the All Ireland Fla was in Ennis, and all the musicians that had travelled from, all over the world.
All over the world.
The best time with the Fla is always on the Monday or the Tuesday in some...
It's always the case.
Yeah.
The pressure's off.
So the music was unbelievable. And then the last time I brought a tour there, we went into McGann's. Again, I got the food is fantastic in all these pubs as well.
Oh, it's fantastic, yeah.
We went into McGann's, and there was a few musicians playing there, and then we went down to McDermott's, and Tola Custy was playing, and a few of the lads. And it was the music is the scene, the music scene. It's like my village at home in Gurching. It's all traditional music, and the best musicians come to the village. But you've got the sea, and you've got the cliffs, and you've got so much down there.
I suppose no, it's living in Dublin here. I know any night I go down to the pubs there in Dublin there. There's fantastic music there. No matter what pub you go to, whether it be O'Connor's or McGann's and McDermott's or Hotel Dublin, they have fantastic live music in all the pubs there. And I suppose because you're in America there, I will tell you a bit of a story. I had lucky enough one night in my bed and breakfast, I got a phone call from the Aran Islands to say there was a John C. Reilly wanted to stay with us and his family.
Yeah.
And so you know who John C. Reilly is.
Yes.
The American actor.
Yes.
He came over to the Aran Islands, and the lads down at the pier. I came over from the Aran Islands, lads down at the pier. I'm up to the house. They said that John C. Reilly heard about my tours, and that he wanted to do the tour with me, but he also wants to stay with me for a night.
Yeah.
And get an experience what it's like to stay in a local farmhouse.
Yeah.
And on that night, he was telling me, we were abroad on the lawn talking after he arrived. He booked in, and I was talking to John C. Reilly, and he said, "Do you know, I'm over here celebrating my 50th birthday," and it was the month of May, and I said, "That's funny." I said, "I'm just after celebrating my 50th birthday myself in April. My birthday is 25th of April," and he said, "We have a meal booked down at O'Connor's pub later on for the evening. Would your wife and yourself and your family like to join us?" And I said, what I did say, look, I don't want to intrude in your meal. I said, what you'll do is you'll go down to O'Connor's pub, have your meal with your family, and we will come down after to celebrate.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a night.
Was it a great night? Was it a great night?
You can Google this on YouTube.
Oh my God, did somebody video it?
You can Google it on YouTube. Part of it, John C. Reilly standing up in the chairs below in O'Connor's pub, singing The Wild Rover.
Oh my God, Pat, that must have been a mighty night.
Oh my God, I've seen some fantastic nights in Dublin, but that was up there.
That was up there. Can I ask you, talking about the B&B, how many rooms do you have? How many people could you accommodate?
Mary, my wife runs a bed and breakfast here. She has 5 rooms for bed and breakfast. She has a double and a single in 3 rooms, and she has a double bed in the other room and in 2 singles in the other room. So it depends what comes. Yeah. Depends what people come for. And
yeah, because I'm always, I have some of the B&Bs. I have some of the B&Bs that I use all the time.
Of course.
And I prefer to put my people in Dublin in the B&Bs as opposed to the hotel. Even though I know there's nothing wrong with the hotel, but Dublin is one of these special places you need to meet the locals.
Well, the thing about the B&Bs is that with the B&Bs you'll meet the locals.
Yeah, exactly.
And as I said, there's a lot of B&Bs in Dublin, but we're very unique in one aspect of it because we're farmhouse B&B.
Yes, yeah.
And 100%, there's a lot of B&Bs in Dublin that wouldn't be locals, but with farmhouse B&B, that's 100% local.
Yeah.
Because you have a farm all around your bed and breakfast.
Yes, exactly. And so I mean, depending on the amount, the number of people I'll bring, I will be able to contact you about that as well.
Oh God, yeah.
The Churchview, Maeve Fitzgerald is one of them, and Ciara across the road from her.
Correct, yeah. But the one thing I would say about those B&Bs, that would be in your favour is that their location is actually very good. You can park up there. They can walk to the McGann's and walk to McDermott's. They can walk to the pubs.
Yeah.
We're really about 3 kilometres out of Dublin.
Well, that's not far. That's not too far.
As long
as they don't get so drunk that they can't walk back.
Listen, sure. Look at. I go down and pick them up anyhow.
Exactly.
I do it here for my people anyhow.
Yeah. Well, that's this is great now that we've connected because definitely the next time that I bring a tour over, I will definitely, if we're hitting Dublin at all, I will definitely contact you, Pat, and we'll hang out for the day. And
that's for sure.
We can. Oh, tell me something about the farm now. Talk to me about the farm. Do you do any sheep herding at all, or do you have any working dogs?
No,
or anything?
No sheep on the farm. My father used to have sheep here when I grew up here, but when I took over the farm there about 30 years ago for my father passed away here. we sold the sheep, and I went into milking cows for a while.
Yeah.
And then about maybe 15 years ago, I went all into suckler cows.
Okay.
So I've suckler beef cows in the farm now, baby calves, and I have 2 dogs in the farm, Daisy and Rocky.
I have a dog here, Grover. I'm trying to make him internet famous. But
Lovely.
they're not working dogs.
Yeah, well, I suppose Daisy is a working dog for me because I go out and I move the cattle from one part of the farm to the other, and she'll come with me.
Yeah.
I often say to the visitors that my 2 dogs are better than my 3 sons.
And Pat, would you bring people on a kind of a tour of your farm as well and let them see the animals?
They can see the animals out the back. If sometimes the animals are around the house here, they can go out and take pictures of the cows and calves on the farm here. I also carry a few donkeys as well. And
do you? Brilliant.
I do, yeah. And they're welcome to go and have a look and take pictures, and there's not a problem. Yeah, and
brilliant stuff, Pat.
But often I find visitors that come to the house here that they're often down in the air anyhow, taking pictures of the Aran Islands and the view, and the sunset at the back as well when it happens.
Oh, you know, I mean, that's something you can't buy, is the sunsets down in Dublin. Oh my God.
100%.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely breathtaking. It's like the sunsets in Enniscrone. You know, Enniscrone, Sligo was called the Enniscrone of the sunsets. And, you know,
Right.
Strand Hill and Ross's Point, the sunsets. Oh, Pat, I mean, it's breathtaking. You're standing there and you think, how can anyone look at this and say that there's not a God? You know,
I suppose there's a lot of people in Ireland at the moment, or down through the years there, that don't really appreciate that.
They see it all the time, so they don't.
They see it all the time. You know, they don't really appreciate it. It's only when you have visitors coming from other parts of the world, and because I see this myself, when visitors come from other parts of the world and they're walking with me, and the more I do the tours, the more I realize, my God, what we have in our back door.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's then you realize how lucky we are to grow up in a place like this. It's a long time ago. I was only a young lad and I was over my grandfather's farm, and my grandfather has a lovely location on his farm where there's a lovely waterfall going down.
Oh,
and my grandfather, I often remember him saying to us, we were only young kids at the time, and he'd say, "This is paradise."
Oh yeah.
He said, but this is my paradise.
Yeah.
And I tell that story on the tour as well. How right he was, even back then. Yeah. Like that's over 40 years ago.
You know,
and I still remember that.
All Ireland needs to make it the most popular country in the world is good weather.
100%.
But then again, if we had sunshine all the time, we wouldn't have the luscious green colours that we have.
Correct. But you know something, the visitors that come to Ireland here, no matter whether it's America or Europe or the Europeans or whatever, if we did a survey coming into the airports, by possibly going out, it would work a lot better. And just ask them what were their experiences of Ireland. I guarantee you, a lot of visitors would be saying, meeting the local people.
Yes, that's the truth, because that's exactly what I get from people as well. It's the locals, and a lot of my clients actually end up making. I had one person that came over with me. Her surname was Meehan. So we went on this tour. I was at W.B. Yeats's grave in Drumcliff in Sligo, and I met a friend of mine whose second name is Meehan. Okay. So I said to him, I've got a client here with me whose second name is Meehan. Will you talk to her? Because she doesn't know the history of the name.
Of course.
So she sat down and he talked to her for about a half an hour, and they have become fast friends. They have Facebook. I can see Facebook posts going between the two of them, and it is absolutely fantastic. And that's the, you know, I mean, so many of the travelers that come with me, they end up making great friends with the locals that come into the hotels or come into the bars and whatnot.
Of course.
And that's what they say. They say the locals, getting to know the locals is
Getting to know it.
getting to know the locals is what it's all about. And that's the thing about having a local doing the tours like yourself.
Like when some days when I finish the tour and we land back at O'Connor's there, some of the visitors will come up to me and they say, Pat, thanks for creating the trail, I suppose, and giving time to come out on the tour with us and to show us around the Cliffs of Moher here. But also, thank you for your time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that was lovely.
It is lovely. It is lovely.
You
And
know, and
for the local
remember,
knowledge you have, Pat,
they
know.
would have seen some of the most fantastic views of the Cliffs of Moher on that tour.
Yeah.
And to come back and say, just thanks for your time.
Yeah.
And just telling stories. And
yeah.
I suppose Ireland, the people of Ireland are known to be storytellers anyhow.
Yeah. Yeah. We are. You
know?
But it's so much better than, how can I say this, rehearsed practice.
Yeah, I hear you. I know. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's like, I suppose, anything I say on the tour, I didn't learn it.
No, you didn't. It's something you grew up with.
I didn't read it in the book.
Yeah, it's something you grew up with, and you see it every day, and your local knowledge is priceless.
What they say to me is that when you're telling stories and you're on the cliffs, it's the pride and passion you have for your local area when you're speaking on the cliffs.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it said to me as well. It's my passion for my country and my passion for where I bring people.
And be proud of where you come from.
And be proud of where you come from and love it, because I appreciate the beauty of Ireland and the history of it and the people of Ireland. You know, it's amazing when you stand up, and as I said to you before, when you watch somebody stand and look out and all of a sudden their breath, you literally see their breath being taken away, and they go, oh!
You do, yeah.
And
my God.
Yes. Yeah. It's worked. They love it, you know, and nothing, you know, comes close to that feeling of pure satisfaction when you watch somebody experience something like that.
I suppose one of the worst things I suppose you could do is bring people on the cliffs on a foggy day.
Oh, I did. That happened to me as well. But the only lucky thing was there's a band, and we'll finish with this story. There's a band, a very famous band called Scythian. Here, they're a Celtic rock band, and because I'm in the music scene, they know me, and I'm friends with them. So I was up, and I had my group up in Sligo. They had their group down in Tralee, and they were wondering, can I come down? Now, they didn't realise the journey it was going to be, and I says, well, I have a day off, but I won't be near where you are.
Right.
But anyhow, the next day, we were going down to Dublin, down to the cliffs.
Perfect.
And it was gorgeous weather. About 20 minutes out, Pat. Oh, it started. You couldn't see the cliffs. It was covered in fog and
it was. Yeah.
And you couldn't see it. So we went into the Heritage Centre, to the Visitor Centre.
Visitor Centre, yeah.
And we were upstairs to the restaurant, and in walks two of the lads from Scythian, Alex and Dan. And that was great, because all the people that were on my tour were all into traditional music, and they were all fans of Scythian, and they were, oh my God!
Perfect.
It worked out perfectly. Some of their people weren't too happy at all, though. But what can you do? You know, what can you do? You're dependent on the weather. It's as simple as that.
Well, you said it before there, like, if you could guarantee the weather in Ireland, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately, the Cliffs of Moher do tend to get fogged up in a nice bit, unfortunately, during the tourist season.
So what can you do? There's not a thing you can do.
Well, you know, I suppose when I do the tours, and that I know that I'm going down to Connacht's pub at 10 o'clock in the morning, and because I grew up and I lived here, I'm 55 years of age here on the cliffs here. I get to read the weather very well.
Yes, you can. You have a great idea when it's coming, or if it's going to bypass. Yeah,
correct.
You can see it from coming in from the sea as well.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Long before there was phone, internet.
I know.
I could tell the weather. I suppose stuff that was taught to me by my father.
Yeah.
And his grandfather before him.
The thing about it is, the farmers in Ireland always could read the land, and they could
They
always read
could.
signs, and they knew when the birds or when the sheep were coming down from the mountains, you knew that the weather was going to be bad and things like
Correct.
that. So it was always a kind of a thing that the farmers at home they were tuned into it.
They were tuned into it, yeah. Well, you see, farming here in Ireland here, you have to be tuned into it
You do, yeah,
because you're dealing with these elements all year round.
all the time, yeah, and
So
especially if you're near the coast, you definitely are.
near the coast. You have to be tuned into it.
Yeah,
You're dealing with the elements there, and whether it is spring, summer, autumn, or winter, you're wary of the weather patterns that are happening. Where it be the wind coming in off the Atlantic here. If we're saving hay, you want to get five solid days,
yeah,
to get the hay dry.
yeah.
And so you're watching out for lots of different. The wind aspect is a big big problem on the cliffs as well, as well as the
yeah,
well as the fog. The wind can be horrific as well.
yeah, dangerous.
Dangerous. I would have to make a call on the tour, whether it is raining, fog, or whether there's wind, that it wouldn't be safe to be walking. Now, the wind at the visitor centre could be okay, but it may not be okay where I'm walking out on the edge of the cliffs of Moher, where there's in some places no protective barriers.
Yeah.
So, you have to make a call on that as well. And some days I've cancelled the tour and I just said to business, I said, look, I'm sorry, just take a drive up to the centre and enjoy the cliffs from there in safely.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to make a call on that.
Yeah. Do you know that we've run out of time, Pat? Do you believe that?
Who's watching the time?
We could go all day long with this, couldn't we?
We could, yeah, for
Pat,
sure.
thank you so much for joining us on Chatting Up the Irish. And for all our listeners, this is Pat Sweeney with Dublin Walking.
Dublin Cliff Walk.
Cliff Walk! God, I'll never. Dublin Cliff Walk. And for anyone there's the cliffs behind me.
Yeah, the cliffs behind you, yeah. And I suppose if they want to experience the real experience of the cliffs of Moher, come and walk the cliffs with me.
And if anyone wants to look up Pat, go to DublinCliffWalks.com. That's his website.
That's correct.
If you're going over to Ireland at any stage, definitely go to the Cliffs of Moher and contact Pat and stay in his B&B. You'll get the full, real Irish experience. So when I'm posting this, it will be on a Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern time. It won't be this Tuesday. It'll be one of the Tuesdays. I will post it. I give all the information before we post it, and I'll let everybody know. And then hopefully, Pat, people will come over in their droves to book you to bring them for a walk along the cliff.
I'll tell my cousins in America to watch out for it.
Do, absolutely, and tell them to like it and share it. And I'm asking everybody here, this is sponsored by Secret Ireland Tours. So when you watch this program with Pat and myself, please like and share. And if anyone has any comments to make, please do it below. Or if you have a question to ask, you can contact Pat through his website, or you can contact me, and we will do our best to answer them for you, Pat. So
would I be able to see a copy of this?
You will. I'll send you a copy of it, yes. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Bye from Dublin, and bye from the Cliffs of Moher.
Yeah.